Let me tell you a little bit about the man behind the slick video. When I was a child, I was always entrepreneurial. I sold lemonade, I sold candy, I sold what is now an old relic called compact discs out of my dormitory in college. I even sold my old toys when I got tired of them. I tried to, at least, to other kids in my neighborhood. And my mother found out and said, "Boy, you can't sell those toys. I bought them. If you're going to sell them, at least give me a cut." I told her no. And so she shut my whole operation down. But for my years as a child and my years growing up, that entrepreneurial spirit continued to shine. From Rutgers University to Oxford University to MIT's Media Laboratory, where I learned about technology and innovation. Certainly to my stint on the reality television show The Apprentice, where I won the 4th season, to where I stand today as the chairman and CEO of BCT Partners, a multi-million-dollar management consulting and information technology consulting firm. Across all of that, I have come to appreciate and to embrace what I call, and what others call, the entrepreneur's mindset. So I want to speak to you to the following theme: the entrepreneur's mindset, the essential mindset to be competitive in the 21st century and to believe that the sky is the limit. Now, before I talk about the mindset, there are 2 trends that set the stage for why the mindset is essential. The first is that we are living in tough economic times. You are all aware, no matter what you call it, layoffs, reorganization, restructuring, downsizing, my favorite, right-sizing, no matter what you call it, we are living in tough economic times that we have witnessed over the past few years. We have witnessed the downfall of several multinational, long-standing corporations we never would have dreamed would have fallen to the wayside. Started with Enron, then to Lehman Brothers. Then we saw the demise of AIG. Circuit City declared bankruptcy. And the sum total of all of these trends, certainly we are no longer competing with our neighbors in adjacent cities or adjacent regions, but we are competing truly with our not-so-nearby neighbors in China and India across our entire globe. On top of that, the implication for each and every one of us is that as we are all being asked to do more with less in a globally competitive, if not hyper-competitive environment, is only those who are able to compete by doing more with less that will survive. Those who do not will continue to fall to the wayside. Second trend is technology. From CDs to DVDs to MP3s to PSPs to HD TVs, our world is radically different technologically today than it was, say, 10 years ago. I used to work for AT&T, and back in the days when I worked there, we used to run these futuristic commercials where we would lay out these scenarios for the future. We would say things like, "Have you ever sent a fax from the beach?" This is the actual ad. Or, "Have you ever paid a toll without stopping?" Or, "Have you ever read a book from 1,000 miles away?" And then it would fade to black, and it would say, "Well, you will. And the company that will bring it to you is AT&T. Now think about it. We have all of that today. You can send a fax from your phone from the beach. You can read a book on the internet from 1,000 miles away. You can pay a toll without stopping. In fact, the only thing that didn't come true is that AT&T brought none of it to you. That's the one thing we miss with all that futuristic thinking. But not only have we adopted technology, we've integrated it into our lives at much faster rates of adoption. Behind me is the number of years it's taken various technologies to reach 25% market share, for 25% of the population to engage or use or utilize those technologies. As you see, from the airplane, which took 54 years for 25% market share, all the way down to the internet, which took 7 years. And so we're adopting technology at a much faster pace. The implication of this trend is that it's not only those who are able to use technology that will succeed, but it's those who are able to embrace and apply and innovate that will ultimately be competitive. Those who do not will continue to fall to the wayside. And so if I think about the sum total of these two trends, the economy and technology, I can only draw the conclusion that we are in a new day and age, which is not a temporary shift, but a fundamental change in how our global economy functions. As a function of that, we're in a new day with a new era, with new opportunities and new challenges, which needs a new mindset. What is the mindset? The entrepreneur's mindset. The entrepreneur's mindset believes that entrepreneurship is not just something you do, it's a way that you think. It's not just something you do, it's a way that you think. What are the characteristics? I'm glad you asked. The entrepreneur's mindset is made up of 5 characteristics. First, creativity, a clever or inventive approach to whatever you do, regardless of whether you own a business or not. Any walk of life, any profession. Second, resourcefulness, making something out of nothing, or in hip-hop vernacular, making $1 out of 15 cents, staying legit, and still paying your rent. Third, courage, the belief that you can achieve whatever your mind can conceive. Fourth, resilience, the ability to overcome any challenge. And then fifth and finally, and perhaps most importantly, passion, boundless enthusiasm for whatever you do. I believe when you wrap all of these characteristics together, if you look at that list, I can only observe that it is those who embrace this mindset who truly believe that the sky is the limit. Those who go for the impossible goal, dream the impossible dream, pursue the impossible path. Those who don't separate dreams from reality, fact from fiction, probabilities from possibilities are the ones who embrace this mindset. And if you think about that mindset that has the audacity to believe that the sky is the limit, I believe it is the very mindset that you see, if you think about it, in little children. I believe children give us tremendous insight to what we were like before we were influenced by the world. Think about it. You never hear a child say that they can't do something, they won't do something, or they shouldn't do something. That language only begins to emerge as they grow older, as adults like us step in to tell them what they can't do, what they shouldn't do, and what they'll never do. You don't hear a child say, I'm not a math person, or the jungle gym's never been my thing, or the seesaw's kicking my butt. I mean, children just don't use that kind of language. Another example. I did a workshop with some elementary school kids. I asked them, I said, what do you want to be when you grow up? Kids, little ones. I said, what do you want to be when you grow up? Little girl walked up to me, said, I want to be a lawyer, a doctor, and a teacher because I want to help people. I said, really? And the first thought that came to my mind is, you know how long you're going to be in school? To be a lawyer, a doctor, and a teacher? You know how much debt you're going to rack up? Going to med school, law school, and school of education, you're going to be broke! I didn't mean to scare her. But if you listen to what I was trying to do, I was trying to silence the voice that lived within her that told her she could do anything, be anything, and accomplish anything. I wanted to silence the voice from her childhood that I believe lives in all of us that told her she could do anything, be anything, and accomplish anything. And I had to ask myself, who am I to tell her that she cannot be a lawyer, a doctor, and a teacher? Who am I? And it is that mindset that I'm asking each and every one of you to embrace as you come here to TEDx Jamaica, to embrace the mindset from your childhood that was once oblivious to realism and syllogism and pessimism and negativism and racism and sexism and all the other isms that seek to suppress that voice. Because when you embrace that voice from your childhood, I believe that is when and only when you believe the sky is the limit. Now, I also believe if you look at the stories of other successful entrepreneurs, back to the entrepreneur's mindset, I believe that when Bill Gates and Paul Allen came up with the idea for Microsoft, when Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak came up with the idea for Apple, let me move this so I don't get lost. Here we go. When David Filo and Jerry Yang came up with the idea for Yahoo, when Sergey Brin and Larry Page came up with the idea for Google, and when Randall Pinkett and Jeffrey Robinson and Dallas Grundy and Lawrence Hibbert came up with the idea for BCT Partners, what do you notice? We were all young. Getting back to what we heard a moment ago, we didn't know what we didn't know. We didn't know what we shouldn't be doing in the first place. That's what I heard from his remarks. And so, how do you operationalize this mindset? How do you make it practical in your lives? Let me give you a couple of recommendations. First, four things. First, you got to bring passion to whatever you do. Boundless enthusiasm that regardless of what profession, what walk of life, what industry, what sector you find yourself in, you bring passion to what you do. For me, my passion has always been business and technology. So I run a technology business. But in fact, studies have shown that if you look at those who've been successful and those who have perhaps plateaued at points in their career, it is those who are successful who use as their compass and their guiding light their passion. They're willing to say no to what may look like a good opportunity if it does not tap into what they love and what they do. So I'm here to say find a natural fit between what you love and what you do. That in an economy like this, the proclivity is to believe I got to sacrifice what I want to do for what I need to do. And I would say just the opposite. That if you want to find your way under any circumstance, it means figuring out what it is that you love to do first, whether you're an entrepreneur, an employee, or anything across the board. And then how does that manifest into the work that I do? Meaning that if there's no passion, there is no point. There's no passion, there is no purpose. If there's no passion, there should be no pursuit. Second, you do what entrepreneurs also do. And the summary, the takeaway from my last point, which is the following from Oprah. When you love what you do, you will never work another day in your life. Or stated differently, in the words of the great scholar and philosopher, Flavor Flav, what we need is awareness. We can't get careless. Awareness of what our passions are. Those are the words of Flavor Flav. Last I checked, he wasn't coming to speak at TEDx Jamaica. And maybe that's a good thing.